Alex stepped off the ship and onto the large, bustling space station. The air was filled with the sounds of different languages and the chatter of aliens from all corners of the galaxy. The space station, called Haven's Edge, was a popular meeting spot for species across the stars. But Alex wasn't there for trade or diplomacy. Alex had a mission, a dangerous one. He wanted to see the deadliest predator in the galaxy. Everyone had heard the stories about the Threx. They were huge, fast, and feared by all other species. Many said the Threx could tear apart any creature that came too close. Most aliens wouldn't even dare to mention the name of the Threx without shivering in fear. The space station kept one of these creatures in a special containment area, locked behind thick, unbreakable glass. People could pay to take a quick look at it if they had the nerve. Alex, however, wasn't like the others. He wasn't afraid. In fact, he was curious. He had always believed that fear only existed because people didn't understand things fully. Maybe there was more to the Threx than just the stories of how deadly they were. Maybe they were misunderstood. As Alex walked through the station, he overheard the whispers of aliens talking about him. "That human is crazy," one said. "He's going to get himself killed," said another. But Alex ignored them. He had already made up his mind. He reached the containment area where the Threx was kept. The area was surrounded by guards and security cameras. There was a large glass wall that allowed people to see the Threx, but the creature itself was behind several layers of protection. The Threx was massive, its body covered in black, tough scales, and its eyes glowed a deep red. It stood completely still, its sharp claws ready to strike at any moment. Most people would have been terrified by just looking at it. But not Alex. He stepped closer, ignoring the warning signs and the nervous stares from the crowd of aliens watching nearby. One of the guards walked up to Alex. "I wouldn't get too close, human. This creature has killed everything that has ever come near it," the guard said in a stern voice. "You're risking your life just by standing here." Alex smiled. "I think it's worth the risk. I want to understand it," he replied calmly. The guard shook his head in disbelief, but didn't stop him. Everyone in the crowd seemed to hold their breath as Alex approached the glass. The Threx hadn't moved at all. It just stared straight ahead, ignoring the small alien children who were pointing at it from the safety of the observation area. Alex slowly raised his hand and pressed it against the glass. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then something unexpected occurred. The Threx turned its head slightly, its glowing red eyes now locked onto Alex. The crowd gasped in shock. Everyone expected the Threx to attack, to throw itself at the glass with all its strength, but it didn't. Instead, the Threx took a step forward, moving closer to the glass. Its huge body was only inches away from Alex now, and the tension in the air grew even thicker. Alex didn't move. He kept his hand on the glass, his eyes meeting the Threx's gaze. There was no fear in Alex's eyes, only curiosity. The Threx lowered its head slightly and let out a low, deep sound. It wasn't a growl or a roar. It was almost as if it was communicating. The crowd couldn't believe what they were seeing. A few aliens started murmuring in confusion. What is it doing? Why isn't it attacking? The Threx stayed where it was, its massive body calm and still. Alex smiled, feeling a strange connection forming. For the first time in history, the deadliest predator in the galaxy wasn't trying to kill. Instead, it seemed to be trying to understand. The news of Alex's encounter with the Threx spread across the space station like wildfire. Aliens from all over couldn't believe what they had heard. The deadliest predator in the galaxy, a creature that no one could tame, had approached a human without attacking. Many thought it was a fluke, a moment of luck. But Alex didn't believe in luck. He believed something had changed. A few days later, Alex received an invitation from the station's officials. They wanted him to meet the Threx again, this time in a more controlled setting. Aliens from different planets had gathered to watch, setting up cameras and equipment to study the interaction. They were curious, but they were also cautious. No one knew how the Threx would react if things went wrong. Inside a large, reinforced room, the Threx waited. The creature stood in the center, its powerful muscles tense under its dark scales. The walls were lined with guards, scientists, and alien leaders, all ready to react at the first sign of danger. The tension in the air was heavy. No one trusted the Threx except Alex. He walked in calmly, his heart steady. His eyes met the Threx's red gaze once more. The creature remained still, watching him closely. "Are you sure about this?" one of the scientists asked, his voice filled with doubt. Alex nodded. "I know it's dangerous, but I need to understand." With slow steps, Alex moved toward the Threx. The aliens in the room whispered nervously, some of them even backing away, afraid of what might happen. The Threx's eyes followed every movement, but it didn't growl or show any signs of aggression. Alex stopped a few feet away and crouched down, trying to appear less threatening. This time, instead of touching glass, there was nothing between them, just open space. The Threx tilted its head slightly, as if it was trying to figure out what Alex was doing. Then, without warning, the Threx lowered itself to the ground, sitting in a relaxed position. The crowd gasped in shock. Never had they seen the Threx behave like this. Alex smiled softly. He pulled out a small, sealed container from his jacket. Inside was a piece of food, something simple that most creatures would eat, a fruit from Earth. He opened the container and placed the fruit on the floor between him and the Threx. The Threx sniffed the air, then cautiously reached out with one of its massive claws. To everyone's surprise, it didn't attack or destroy the fruit. Instead, it gently picked it up, studied it for a moment, and then ate it in a single bite. The scientists couldn't believe their eyes. The cameras recorded every second of the interaction, and the aliens whispered among themselves, stunned by what they were seeing. Alex didn't stop there. Over the next few minutes, he started to mimic the Threx's movements. He tilted his head when it did, and when the Threx blinked slowly, Alex did the same. It was a small, simple gesture, but it seemed to create a bond between them. The Threx watched him closely, its body completely calm. For the first time, the room was silent. No one dared to move or interrupt the strange connection forming between human and predator. It was as if the Threx and Alex were communicating without words, understanding each other in a way no one else could. Then, something unexpected happened. A sudden loud crash echoed through the room as a piece of equipment fell to the ground. The aliens gasped, and the guards raised their weapons, expecting the Threx to go into a rage. But it didn't. Instead, the Threx's eyes shifted toward the noise, and then back to Alex. The creature stayed calm, even though everyone else in the room was on edge. Slowly, Alex stood up and took a few steps closer to the Threx, showing that he wasn't afraid. The Threx let out a low, soft sound, something between a purr and a growl. It was a peaceful sound, one that seemed to signal trust. The aliens watching couldn't believe it. The deadliest predator in the galaxy wasn't just calm around a human. It was bonding with one. Alex had done the impossible. The connection between Alex and the Threx sent shockwaves through the galaxy. News channels broadcast the story nonstop, and every alien government was talking about it. Many were amazed by what Alex had done, but not everyone was impressed. In fact, many alien leaders were worried, some even scared. What if the human is controlling the Threx? One alien official from the Zor Collective asked during a meeting of the Galactic Council. What if they weaponize it? The room filled with nervous chatter. The Galactic Council was made up of the most powerful alien races, and none of them had ever trusted humans completely. They had always viewed humans as unpredictable, and now, with Alex's bond with the deadliest predator in the galaxy, that fear had grown even stronger. "We cannot allow this to continue," said another official, his voice filled with concern. "The Threx is too dangerous to be in the hands of a human. It could upset the balance of power." The council agreed. They decided that Alex and the Threx had to be separated. It was too risky to allow the bond to grow any stronger. Messages were sent to the space station where Alex and the Threx were staying, ordering the station's officials to intervene. Meanwhile, Alex continued his visits to the Threx. He could feel the bond between them deepening with each meeting. The Threx, once feared by all, now seemed calm and even playful in Alex's presence. They had developed a silent way of communicating, small gestures, eye contact, and even the occasional sound. It was as if they could understand each other without words. But Alex noticed something strange during one of his visits. The station's guards were watching him more closely, and there were whispers among the staff. Something was wrong. Later that day, Alex received an official message from the station's commander. It was short and to the point. The Galactic Council had ordered him to stop interacting with the Threx. The creature would be transferred to a secure facility far from the space station, where it could be monitored and controlled. Alex was furious. He knew the Threx wasn't a threat. It was misunderstood. But no matter how much he tried to explain this to the station's officials, they refused to listen. The decision had been made. The next day, a team of heavily armed guards arrived to take the Threx away. They entered the containment area where the creature was resting, unaware of the situation. But as soon as they tried to restrain the Threx, everything changed. The Threx's calm behavior vanished in an instant. It let out a deafening roar, and its red eyes burned with rage. The guards backed away in fear, their weapons raised, but they knew they couldn't win in a fight against the Threx. The creature was too powerful. Alex, hearing the commotion, rushed to the scene. "Stop!" he shouted, running toward the containment area. "You're scaring it. Don't do this." The Threx slammed its massive tail against the walls, denting the thick metal. It was ready to destroy everything around it to avoid capture. The guards were panicking, unsure whether to fight or retreat. The whole station shook with the Threx's fury. But then, something unexpected happened. Through the chaos, Alex stepped forward, standing between the guards and the Threx. "I'm here," he said calmly, his voice steady despite the danger. "It's okay." The Threx paused, its red eyes locking onto Alex. Slowly, its breathing calmed, and the wild look in its eyes faded. It took a step back, lowering its head slightly. The guards, who had been ready to attack, were left speechless. Alex turned to the commander of the station, anger in his eyes. "You see, it's not a monster. It's only acting this way because you're treating it like one." The commander hesitated. He didn't know what to do. The Galactic Council had ordered the Threx's removal, but now it was clear that separating the creature from Alex wasn't going to be as easy as they thought. The bond between human and predator was far stronger than anyone had realized. The decision to separate Alex from the Threx was final. The Galactic Council feared what the bond between a human and the deadliest predator in the galaxy could lead to. A team of soldiers had been sent to the space station to carry out the order. They didn't care about Alex's connection with the creature. They only saw a dangerous animal that needed to be locked away. Alex stood by the observation window, watching the Threx as it paced back and forth inside the containment area. He knew what was coming. The guards had told him the Council's orders, and it filled him with anger and dread. He couldn't let them take the Threx away. Suddenly, an alarm blared through the station. Red lights flashed, and the sound of marching soldiers echoed in the halls. They were coming for the Threx. Alex's heart pounded. He knew this was his only chance to save the creature. He grabbed his backpack, stuffed with supplies, and rushed to the containment area. His mind raced as he thought of a plan. There had to be a way out. When he arrived at the containment chamber, the soldiers were already there. They stood in front of the door, armed and ready. The commander, a tall alien with sharp, green eyes, noticed Alex approaching. "You're too late, human," the commander said coldly. "The creature is being transferred. It's for the safety of everyone." Alex stepped forward, determined. "You don't understand," he said. "The Threx isn't just a predator anymore. It trusts me. If you try to take it by force, it will react violently. I'm the only one who can calm it." The commander narrowed his eyes. "Stand down, human. This is out of your control." But Alex wasn't going to give up. He knew the Threx would panic if the soldiers tried to capture it. The only way to stop this was to escape, both of them. With quick reflexes, Alex pushed past the soldiers and slammed his hand on the emergency release button. The doors to the containment area hissed open, and the Threx looked up, its red eyes locking onto Alex. The soldiers shouted in alarm, raising their weapons, but the Threx didn't attack. Instead, It stepped out of the containment area and stood protectively beside Alex. "Don't shoot," Alex yelled, standing between the Threx and the soldiers. "If you hurt it, it'll fight back. Let us go, and no one gets hurt." The commander hesitated, but the fear of the Threx's power was too great. He knew that if they fired their weapons, the creature could tear them apart in seconds. After a tense moment, he lowered his hand, signaling the soldiers to stand down. Alex glanced at the Threx, feeling its calm energy. He placed his hand on its thick, scaly hide, and together they made their way toward the exit of the station. Alarms blared louder, and the sound of more soldiers rushing through the corridors reached their ears. The escape was going to be difficult. As they approached the docking bay, Alex spotted a small cargo ship that was being loaded with supplies. Without a second thought, he led the Threx toward it. The workers froze in shock at the sight of the massive creature, but Alex didn't stop. "We're taking the ship," Alex said firmly. "No one needs to get hurt." The workers backed away, terrified of the Threx. Alex quickly activated the ship's controls, and the ramp lowered. The Threx moved inside, barely fitting into the cargo hold. Alex followed, closing the ramp behind them. Just as the ship's engines roared to life, a blast shook the station. The Galactic Council's soldiers were trying to stop them. Laser fire flashed outside the ship's windows, but Alex was determined. He punched in the coordinates for a safe destination and launched the ship into space. The cargo ship sped away from the space station, leaving the chaos behind. Alex let out a breath of relief as the stars stretched out before them. He turned to the Threx, who sat calmly in the cargo hold, watching him with those red eyes. "We did it," Alex said, a small smile on his face. "We're free." The Threx let out a low, rumbling sound, almost like a purr. For the first time in its life, it wasn't in a cage. It was free, and it had Alex to thank for it. The cargo ship drifted through the quiet expanse of space. Alex sat in the cockpit, staring at the stars as they sped by. The Threx rested in the cargo hold, calm and silent. After the intense escape from the space station, Alex felt a mix of relief and uncertainty. They were safe for now, but he knew the Galactic Council wouldn't give up easily. They would hunt them down. As the ship flew through the stars, Alex couldn't shake a strange feeling. There was something he didn't understand about the Threx. It wasn't just a deadly predator. The bond between them felt deeper than any simple connection. It was almost as if the creature had been waiting for him, waiting for a human. Suddenly, the ship's control panel beeped. A message appeared on the screen. Alex leaned forward, his eyes narrowing as he read the words. It wasn't from the Galactic Council or any government. The message was from an unknown source. "You are not alone. We've been watching you. We have the answers you seek. Come to the coordinates attached to this message." Alex's heart raced. Who could this be? He had no choice but to follow the instructions. Punching in the coordinates, Alex set the ship on a new course. Hours later, the ship approached a hidden planet on the edge of the galaxy. It was small and covered in thick forests. No one had told Alex about this place, but the message had been clear. The Threx, sensing something was different, shifted in the cargo hold, its red eyes alert. The ship landed in a clearing, and Alex stepped out with the Threx by his side. The air was warm, and the trees rustled in the wind. A group of figures appeared from the shadows, walking toward them. They weren't soldiers. They looked like a mix of different alien species, all united by something larger. An older alien stepped forward, her silver skin shining under the sun. She looked at Alex and the Threx with deep, knowing eyes. "You've done something remarkable," she said, her voice calm. "You've unlocked a secret hidden for centuries." Alex frowned, confused. "What do you mean? I only befriended the Threx. I didn't unlock anything." The alien smiled gently. "The Threx are not what the galaxy believes them to be. Yes, they are strong and dangerous, but they were created with a purpose. They were designed to bond with a specific species, humans." Alex's eyes widened in shock. "Created? By who?" "By an ancient race long gone," she explained. "They saw potential in humanity, potential the rest of the galaxy failed to see. The Threx were meant to guard and protect humanity, but something went wrong. The galaxy feared them, and they became hunted instead. No one realized their true purpose until now. Alex looked at the Threx, who stood beside him, calm and loyal. He had always wondered why the creature had trusted him so easily, why they had formed such a strong bond. Now it all made sense. The bond between you and the Threx is the key to a greater future, the alien continued. The Galactic Council feared you because they sensed the power of this connection. But you don't need to fear them. Together, you and the Threx are more powerful than they know. Alex took a deep breath, letting the weight of the revelation sink in. The Threx wasn't just a predator. It was a protector, and he was the one it had been waiting for. The galaxy had misunderstood the Threx for centuries, but now, with this knowledge, things could change. What do we do now? Alex asked, his voice steady. The alien smiled again. You and the Threx must return to the galaxy, not as fugitives, but as symbols of what's to come. The Galactic Council will try to stop you, but they cannot fight the truth. You represent a new era, one where humans and the Threx will stand together. Alex nodded, determination filling him. He looked at the Threx, who gave a low, rumbling sound of approval. We're ready, Alex said. With that, Alex and the Threx boarded their ship once again, leaving the hidden planet behind. As they flew back into the galaxy, Alex knew that their journey was far from over. The revelation had changed everything. Together, they would face whatever came next, ready to reshape the future of the galaxy.